Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. So I generally had that song stuck in my head when the lobby list came up and I saw some of those names on it. I was already feeling way more nervous and my palms were already sweating and we haven't even warmed up yet. So so for those of you who don't know, so this is from the GR Supra GT Cup. It's a league that is officially hosted by Gran Turismo Sport, and this is the top tier lobby in North America. So these are the best drivers from the United States, Canada, Mexico, and elsewhere. And I ended up in this lobby. So I'm in the lobby with a couple friends. I'm in the lobby with Turismo Lester, NZNZ. So people like Burdock and Lester, those are some of the people who I've looked up to when it comes to trying to improve in this game. So to be able to end up with them, well, with Burdock again, that is, it's pretty awesome and nerve-wracking as well. I know with Burdock, I actually met him at one of the FI races last year, so this is our first time racing together in this kind of setting since that race. So DNA-wise should be coming up in a moment. I don't remember exactly where he ended up, but yeah, so he's one of my other friends. Burdock's one of my other friends, and we're gonna have a good race. And hey, here's Wise right here. But anyway, so this race honestly felt very different for me, or interesting, because this is where I feel like I raced in a very different way compared to how I normally race, like in the FI races or even in the super races before this one. So in this race, you'll see I kind of end up racing a lot more safely. I think that's the best way to word it, or even conservatively. I try to be very safe because this is one of my weakest tracks. So I want to just try to stay consistent, try not to mess up. And one of the other things I really want to make sure I try not to do is end up in either many battles at, in a short period of time, or in a very long drawn out battle. So those are my main objectives: is race clean, keep my line, and fight as little as possible. So my fuel strategy for this track will be in the straight parts of the track, and even this chicane right here, I'll be running on 3s. Everywhere else is a 4. This was actually tested by Burdock, and he helped me get this nailed down. And here I'm just going to try to be very safe. I mean, it's going to be, it might seem like a boring race to those of you who are watching the video, but to me, it just felt weird and interesting just because I'm trying out a race style that I don't normally do. And I think a lot of it has to do just because I was so nervous, and I guess I felt a lot of anxiety just going through me. But I just kept on telling myself, just try to be calm. And also, that's the other thing. I guess I was so focused and so anxious, full of anxiety, that I wasn't even talking when I was actually recording this race, so, which is why you're hearing the post commentary right now, because I'm feeling a lot better now have my thoughts collected. So again, just try to keep it nice and safe. I'm trying not to pay too much attention to the person behind me, and here actually the person in front of me makes a big mistake, well, biggish mistake, but he's able to save the car. So, I could have tried to catch up to him, maybe, but he has a draft, and you can just see that pack just going away. But I'm not too concerned. I'm trying not to push the car too much. And actually, there's one of the other minor issues that I actually came across. So, since I started further down in the middle of the pack, I have to cover a bit more distance compared to, say, the top 3 people who start. So I have to slightly make adjustments to my fuel mapping to make sure that I actually finish with barely enough fuel. So again, just here, there's nothing interesting going on. I'm just taking note that there's a big old pack of cars. This is 9th all the way to 1st place. and they're all together. And actually, that was one of the things I actually kind of liked, is that we're all just stuck together. I mean, that is his first pack of cars. And here there was actually a position change, 8th and 9th change positions. So here they're starting to bunch up, so now's my time to try to see if I can actually try to make a move. And this is where I'm actually thinking I might be able to, but no, that's actually not the case. But that's fine. I'm trying not to be too aggressive. I'm mostly trying to play this race very safely. I don't want to make any mistakes. I don't want to battle someone out so much that the people behind end up catching up, or battle someone so much that either like a collision happens or I end up forcing a mistake on myself. But what matters the most is that I just try to stick as close to this pack of cars as I can, just so I don't feel like I'm falling off pace. But well, the thing is that it seems like they're running slightly higher fuel mapping, just because they're getting a lot of slipstream from the cars ahead of them. And here's actually, I noticed, I was like, wait, I think I'm running a little shorter on fuel, so that's when I start making adjustments. But it's nothing too serious. I can worry more about it towards the end of the race, but as long as I have enough, and I don't have to really worry about it and make any more adjustments. So here you see me just going back to fuel map 3. So actually, this is one of the things that I kind of keep an eye on: fuel and tire management. So you see me just trying different ways to save fuel and just try to conserve the tires, because I don't want to beat them up too much, because if I wear them down too much, then it'll only cost me a lot of trouble towards the end of the race. So some of the things that I'm doing, I'm just trying to keep an eye about how much braking I'm using. So I'm trying to be a little easy on the brakes, and if I can do it, then I will do it. And this turn, I know some people are using the brakes, so I try to use as very little braking as possible. If I can do it, then I'll just use the throttle, just a lot of throttle control. So if you do things just like coasting before you start to brake for a turn, slipstream a lot, adjust your fuel mapping, and be easy on the brakes, then you can definitely up the lifetime of your tires and definitely get some more fuel life out of your car. And I mean, and that's a bit of the name of the game, especially in the higher tier super races, because I think all of the strategies so far have been no stops. For those who don't know what that is, it's basically where in a race you don't make a single pit stop, you use one stint of tires, so you don't change your tires at all, you don't refuel at all, you're using pretty much your original settings for fuel, tire, all the way till the very end of the race. And these races tend to be short enough to be able to pull it off, and especially with the tire and fuel life modifiers, depending on the car and a couple other things, it's doable. But when it comes to races like these with the Supra, so there's actually a couple of things that comes into hand. So first is a no stop actually doable? And well, I mean, eventually someone's going to find out that yes, it's doable. But then the second thing is that, let's say there's multiple no stop strategies that have already been found. Which one is the best? And that's where it gets a little funky, just because one might be easier to do. Let's say one strategy for this race could be just having the fuel mapping on 4, and you just leave it like that for the entire race. I mean, that could work, but is your time, your overall race time, is that better than doing 3s and 4s? So those are a couple of things I have to think about, especially if you're racing the higher tier lobbies. I'm not sure how it works in the lower tier lobbies, if people go for the 1 stop or 2 stop or whatever, or some people go for the no stop. But if you've noticed that people in your lobby are doing the 1 stop, and you can definitely try to see if you can do the no stop, pull it off, and you'll definitely end up light years ahead of second place. So here, actually, this guy right here, trying to see Totally Lit, he ends up getting a good run on me, and I don't want to fight it, so I just let him pass. I don't want to contest it, especially on these series of turns. This gets really nasty, but he ends up messing it up a little bit, so now I'm right on his tail and just breathing down his neck or back bumper. So here I actually think I might be able to retake ninth place. And actually here is I think someone ended up disconnecting. But anyways, so here I'm trying to see if I can try to retake my position, but no, that's not going to be the case. And actually I'm starting to fight with the position, so I don't want to do that. And this guy right here, he ends up getting penalty. It looked like he went off track, so I'm just going to go ahead and line up behind Totally. Just try to follow him along, and there's a lot of shifting around. And here's actually this pack of cars right here, so I mean I would love to overtake all of them, but it's going to be really hard. This guy's going to be defending his position like crazy. This section of the track is more or less just really hard to even get an overtake going. And here, I mean, I can't really do anything. There's a car in the way. I can't really go that fast because I'm not on fuel power 1. I'm on fuel power 4. I'm trying to save some gas here. And here, something ends up happening. I think he ended up bumping into 7th place because I had to slow down a lot. The person behind me almost bumps into me. And this is where I actually start to worry that the person behind me might be able to get the overtake on me. So I'm going to go ahead and try to draft this guy right here and just try to keep the inside line. So here he is. He's on my side now. And I'm like, oh no. So I'm going to try to protect the inside line. I want to try and make sure that I keep 9th place. And the job is done. And now here is actually a little bit of a collision right here. So now I'm thinking, okay, I could probably go for the attack. I want to see if I can try to take 8th place. So now I'm going to go ahead and get some slipstream because I also have to consider trying to save some fuel. And I notice I'm going faster than him, so I'm like, okay, I can definitely go on the inside. I'm going to go for the overtake. And let's see what happens right here. End up braking, get the inside line. Nicely done, but then this guy, he actually gets a better line. So now I'm on the outside. He's a footstep ahead of me now. But then there's this inside turn going to the right, so now it's going to favor me, and I get the overtake again. So I mean, that was some pretty clean battling, and I mean it wasn't drawn out for too long, but it was a pretty interesting battle nonetheless. So now I'm trying to overtake 7th place, or at least just keep up with him, because I want to try to get to the pack of cars that's ahead, because those are where some of the aliens are. Well, I mean I guess we're all aliens, but I mean I call those the aliens, I guess. I end up going a little slower through here, but I still think I can catch up to him. There's still a whole lot left. And now that I think about it in this moment, it's like, no, unless they all mess up, I don't think I'll be able to catch up to them. So pretty much now it's a battle for 7th place. But the question here, actually there's 2 questions. So the question 1, is this guy TRL Lightning just because he has a Subaru WRX STI livery? But on a more serious note, where will I be able to overtake him? If it's going to be like the Group 3 race a couple videos ago, then I'm going to have to try to overtake him on the final turn, try to get a perfect exit, get the slipstream out of him, and then overtake him for 7th place. And in just that last turn, the person behind me was approaching me, so that's when I took the inside line and went a little too slidey just because I released the brake too early, too fast. But I was able to recover quickly without much of a hassle. Here we both make mistakes, so we're still even. It doesn't even matter, but I'm still focused on trying to get as close as I can to him before the last turn, and then trying to see if I can go for overtake. He ends up taking this turn a little slowly, but there's not much I can do but stay behind him. This section is just, for me, it's just too hard to try to get an overtake unless they make a massive mistake. This guy, he's doing really good on defending the position. there's nothing I can really do to try to sneak by. So here we are approaching the final turn. Here's where I need to get this perfect. I need to get this right. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what happens. He goes a little wide, and here he defends a lot, and here I actually end up going just a tad bit slower, but then I'm getting the gain on him because I actually ended up going just a little faster, but he's pulling away. Here's where I actually found out that he increased the fuel mapping, and I realized it just a tad bit too late. There's not much I can do. I mean, as much as I want to try to overtake him, I can't, and he crosses the finish line just before I do. So, I mean, hey, we started in 10th place. I finished in 8th. I mean, that's progress, right? Especially in the top tier lobby. I mean, just after the race was done, I felt like all the weight just got off my shoulders. I mean, I was feeling pretty relieved. I mean, I was still pretty happy that I finished that high up. I honestly thought I was going to do a lot worse, or I was going to just get left behind for one reason or another. But anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. I mean, this was just an interesting race. Racing the top tier lobby, racing in a very different way than I usually do. It's just an interesting experience. But yeah, so I hope you guys liked the video. Hope you guys found something useful out of it. Maybe learn something new. Maybe learn how much anxiety I end up getting. But actually, that's a bit of a interesting thing that I want to quickly touch base on. So actually, I originally was going to quit back when in the last round when it was at Rebel Ring, because honestly, this series it kind of got to me. I mean, I can't really explain it besides that it was just giving me so much anxiety that I was just feeling super stressed just doing this, doing all the practice or preparation for it. But I mean, I gotta thank Burdock for, I guess, convincing me to come back to this series. So I actually didn't get that much prep time for this race, so that might be why I was a little more nervous than usual. But I mean, it went good. That's all that matters, right? Took home 1,500 points. I mean, it's pretty nice, right? So yeah, so I guess I'm gonna be sticking with the GR Supra GT Cup until the very end. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. This is Mr. MCA, the world's most okay player, and I'll see you in the next video.